us start the third lecture of Theory of Relativity, which is the first unit of Engineering Physics first for the PG first year student. In this lecture, we will discuss the Lorentz transformation equation, and then after the consequences of the Lorentz transformation equation. Lorentz transformation equation. Number two, consequences of Lorentz transformation equations. We will also see the inverse Lorentz transformation. In the section of this consequences of Lorentz transformation equation, we will see the length contraction. And time dilation. This much we will cover in this lecture. With the same, I will discuss some conceptual question and some numerical problems related to these topics which I have planned to discuss in this lecture. As far Lorentz transformation is concerned, you might remember when we were discussing the explanation of negative result in Michelson-Morley experiment, then the important suggestion was given by Lawrence Fitzgerald, in which he suggested that if this is the direction of motion of a particular body or a particular length or a particular rod, then in this path or in this direction there will be a contraction which will be equal to under root 1 minus v square upon c square. This we will see under the consequences of the Lorentz transformation equation later on. And when the explanation suggested by the Lawrence Fitzgerald was not accepted during the explanation of negative result, then they were trying to review the transformation equations which has been suggested by the Galileo, and they realized what is the real relativistic transformation equation under the limelight of the postulates of special theory of relativity. When we will discuss the consequences, then one we will see that the length remains no longer constant, means that in the direction of motion the length of a rod will be contracted by this amount. And very interesting phenomena we will see here under the Lorentz transformation equation, that time remains no longer constant. That is very important here, because always we people have the crisis of time in our life, as well as we see that if we have so many work, then obviously we will say that we don't have time. Anyhow, if it happens that the time remains constant, then it may be that we may have the opportunity to enjoy much time. And but at the same time, if we are in a waiting room and we are waiting for a particular event or a particular time, then in that situation we always think that if time passes a little bit faster, then it becomes very good for us. So for that, time basically we have a very important lines here कि हमें हर वक्त ये एहसास दामनगी रहता है, पड़े हैं ढेर सारे काम और मोहलत जरा सी है. Means that anyhow if we wish to extend the time duration, we wish to extend the time span, or we want to dilate the time, then there is a particular expression which I will discuss under the consequences of the Lorentz transformation. And it may be possible that time may have much span, but subject to the condition that we have to move fast. Means for moving bodies, for moving frame of reference, the time will be slow and there will be the opportunity to enjoy much time. So we will see that what are the consequences and how we will be able to explain the theoretical, experimental and methodical evidences for the time dilation. So let us see first that what is the Lorentz transformation equation, how the Lorentz transformation equations can be derived under the limelight of the postulates of special theory of relativity. Anyway, if we will see here, then first we have to review the Galilean transformation equations under the limelight of postulates of special theory of relativity. You will see here first point that using the postulates of special theory of relativity, Lorentz derived the real relativistic transformation equation known as the Lorentz transformation equation of space and time. For that we have taken this S dash frame of reference as well as S frame of reference, and by being in moving frame of reference as well as in the stationary frame of reference, observer want to reveal that what are the coordinates of a point P. Then you will see here x, y, z and t is the space and time coordinate observed by the observer O, and x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash when it is observed by the observer O dash. Now objective is what? Our objective is to have the relation between x dash and x dash and x, and y dash y and z dash z as well as t dash and t. Here the most important point is here that in case of Galilean transformation equation, we might have seen this situation where he was suggested there is no need to transfer the time coordinate, but here we will see that something different equation we will get for the time coordinate, and there will be the transformation of the time coordinate also. Here we have x dash and x relation, y dash y relation, z dash z relation. Since our second frame of reference means that second moving frame of reference is supposed to move only along x axis, that's why we will see that our transformation in x direction will be variable here, and along y axis as well as along z axis, since there is no motion in this particular case, that's why the coordinates remains as such, means that y dash is equal to y and z dash is equal to z. Means we have to focus on the transformation of x dash x and t dash to t. So for that let us start our derivation which has been given here. As far transformation equation is concerned, the measurement in x direction made in frame S is proportional to that in the frame S dash. Is that here? If we are taking these two frame of references, which picture already has been depicted on the last slide. So here we have S, here S dash, it is moving with a constant velocity v, O dash is here, O is here, here we have x dash, here we have y dash, here we have z dash. Similarly x, y and z, corresponding to that we will have the point here P having its coordinate x, y, z, t, and here x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash observed by the observer O dash. If anybody is saying that what is the relation of x dash to x, then obviously we have seen it that x dash is equal to x minus vt, as you will transform the x coordinate as has been suggested by the Galileo. Then this relation we will have, this particular relation, that x dash is equal to x minus vt. Since x dash is moving along x axis, that's why this equation will be valid here, but not exactly in this way, but maybe that it will be proportional to this one under the limelight of the postulates of a special theory of relativity. We will consider that maybe that this x dash is equal to k times x minus vt. We have taken this relation between x dash and x. This k may have any value, that depends how we are using the principle to transform x dash to the x, means that how the relation we are justifying between x dash and x in the limelight of the postulates which has been suggested in the special theory of relativity. So according to that we will calculate that what is the value of this k. Here one more important thing is here, if the first postulate which has been suggested by the Galileo himself will be applied here, then according to that the laws of physics remains invariant in all inertial frame of reference. Here what we have observed actually, here we have observed that the information has been taken as x dash in terms of x, v and t, means that the things which are written at the right hand side, usually these are known, and with the help of these quantities or these parameters, we used to have the value of x dash here. Now let us have the situation. It means that obviously it means that the observer is in a static frame of reference and information has been drawn by the observer who is in moving frame of reference. Let us have the reverse situation there, means that now we have the reverse situation, then x will be equal to k times here x dash minus vt dash, but minus vt dash means that minus is not here, it will be plus. Why? Because here what was the situation, our observer was recording the data by being the static frame of reference, and with the help of that we were predicting that what is the value of x dash. Now here the observer is moving frame of reference because the known things are x dash, t dash here, but x dash has been calculated with the help of these things. It reveals the fact that definitely our observer is in the moving frame of reference. And if we are saying that here we have the observer and here we have the static frame of reference, and for an instant we are considering that it is static, although it is moving with the v velocity here in this direction, but for an instant if we are considering that it is the static one, then it seems that it is moving in backward direction with the same velocity. So that's why in place of v I have taken here minus v, and this equation will be here to predict the relation between x and x dash here, and that is true on the basis of the postulate of special theory of relativity which has been predicted by the Galileo, known as the first postulate of special theory of relativity. Now the same relation what already I have discussed here, x is equal to k times x dash minus vt dash, and finally we will have this relation, that is x dash is here k into x minus vt, and x is equal to k times x dash plus vt dash. Now let us write the value of x dash here in this equation. Then we will have x is equal to k times, in place of x dash we will write k times x minus vt, and plus vt will be here, vt dash will be here. Let us simplify it. Simplifying it, we will have k square x minus vt plus k vt dash. This will be the value, and this is equal to x here. Let us put the term containing x with together. If we will do it, then we can write here x minus k square, because x is here, x minus let us expand, that will be better. X is equal to x k square minus k square vt plus k vt dash, in this way. Here if we will transfer this term to this side, then we will have 1 minus k square multiplied by x, and this is equal to minus k square vt plus k vt dash. This will be the equation. Here if we are dividing this entire equation by this k, v is common throughout the equation, so that's why we may write here 1 minus k square multiplied by x divided by k into v. This is equal to t dash minus k times kt. And if we will transfer this term to the other side, then we'll have the equation in this way. T dash is equal to 1 minus k square multiplied by x divided by kv plus k. This will be the equation. This is equation number 1, because this gives the idea how t dash is related to the t. Now let us use the second postulate of special theory of relativity, and that too we can calculate that we can use here. And before using that, let us see this one. This is first frame of reference, and this is the second frame of reference. This s dash is moving with a constant velocity with respect to frame of reference s. Let this is the v. Now we have this point, for example, we have this point, and we have a flash of light here. For example, this is the flash of light. If light is moving in this direction and it is reaching here, then this will be the x distance that will be observed by the observer O. Let this distance is x, and this x distance will be equal to c into t, because c is the velocity of light, and we are observing the situation after the time t, because this coordinate this point have a coordinate x, y, z and t, means that after the time t we are taking this particular point, because we are saying that in the start of very beginning both the frame of references were coinciding with each other, as t is equal to t dash is equal to 0. So means that flash of light is reaching here by traversing this path, that is x, and this x will be equal to ct. Now if the observer who is in other frame of reference, that is in by being in the other frame of reference, we will write here x dash is equal to ct dash. Anyone may write it as c dash t dash, but second postulate of special theory of relativity don't permit us, because the c, that is the speed of light, is constant. It has nothing to do with the position of source and observer. That's why this x dash will be equal to ct dash, means that this t dash may have its value in the form of this one. So that's why we can write this value of t dash in this expression, and we can write x dash is equal to c times 1 minus k square multiplied by x divided by k multiplied by v plus kt. This equation is there. Now the same thing already has been depicted here, that in S frame of reference we have x is equal to ct, and in frame S dash we have x dash is equal to ct dash, and by putting the value of x dash t dash, we will have the value of x dash here. So here this c is multiplied in the entire bracket, means that this c is common to all the terms related to t dash. That's why we will have x dash is equal to c times 1 minus k square into x divided by k into v, and here we will have ckt. ckt is here. Let us simplify it, and doing that simplification we can write here this x dash can be again replaced by its value. Already we have written that this is x dash is equal to k times x minus vt, and the right hand side will be as such as we have written there. Now let us simplify this one. Here we will have k times x minus vt, this is equal to c upon k into v 1 minus k square into x plus ckt. This one. Throughout the equation we will see that k is there, so that's why let us divide entire equation by k. Then we will have x minus vt, this is equal to c upon k square v, and within bracket 1 minus k square into x plus ct. This will be, because we have taken k as a common. Let us take the term containing x bit together once again. By doing this one, we can write x here we have taken as a common, then it is equal to c upon v, and within bracket we can write 1 minus k square upon k square multiplied by 1 minus, here 1 minus, because it will be here in this side c upon k square, as well as v is here 1 minus k square, x already has been taken as a common, so here we may write it in this way, and at this side we have ct plus vt. This will be the equation. Again, if we will simplify this one, then we can write it as x is equal to ct. So better to have ct as a common on this side, and if we will do it 1 plus ct, if we will divide it by, so v by c will be, and x is equal to ct because x is the distance traversed by the light in the time t. That's why this x and ct will cancel out, and we will have the equation in this way: 1 minus c upon v within bracket 1 minus k square upon k square, and this will be equal to 1 plus v upon c. 1 and 1 will cancel to each other. So finally we will have here minus c upon v 1 minus k square upon k square. Here we will have v upon c. Better to transfer this negative sign here, and let us transfer this c by v also on the other side, and we will do it. Then 1 minus k square divided by k square will be equal to minus v square upon c square. This will be, and if we will have this equation here in this way: 1 upon k square minus 1. This will be equal to minus v square upon c square, or 1 upon k square is equal to 1 minus v square upon c square. So final value of k, we can determine in this way, and we may write this k is equal to 1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. This will be the value. Now we have the value of this k. So by putting this value in the earlier equation where we have written x dash is equal to k times x minus vt, then we'll have x dash is equal to 1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square within bracket x minus vt is here, or finally we may write it as x minus vt upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. This is the value of x dash. What the information we can get from this? That is very important. The transformation equation which has been suggested by the Galileo using the simple concept what he was suggesting at that time, the transformation equation derived by the Lorentz is slightly different because it has been modulated by a particular factor, and that factor is 1 minus v square upon c square. Let us see that what will happen in case of t, how the time coordinate will be changed. And in order to have the value of time coordinate and its transformation, we have to recall its earlier value. Its earlier value we will see here that already we have taken this value that t is equal to 1 minus k square upon kv into x plus kt. This is the value. This is the value what has been already we have derived, we have established the relation as t dash and t. So here what we have to do, we have to put the value of k, and then after we have to estimate that what is the relation between t dash and t. For that, let us simplify it. Let us take k as a common. If we are taking k as a common, then 1 minus k square divided by k square into v, k square, and here we will write x upon v and plus t will be in this. Now by putting the value of k, but before putting the value of k, it will be better to write it as k times 1 upon k square minus 1 into x upon v plus t. This will be. Here we can put this value of 1 upon k square. 1 upon k square already we have 1 upon k square means 1 minus v square upon c square. So we have k, and with k 1 minus v square upon c square minus 1 multiplied by x upon v plus t here. So obviously this f1 and 1 will cancel to each other, minus sign will be here, and 1 power of v will be cancelled out by this v, and 1 power of and x will retain as such. X retain as such. So we will have k times with a negative sign, we will have vx upon c square, and here we have plus t. And for your kind information, this k was taken common throughout the equation, throughout this equation in this. So that's why this k is not common only in this bracket, but it is also common in t. That's why we will write it in this way. T dash is equal to t dash is equal to t minus vx upon c square upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Why? Because k is equal to 1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. So now we have the transformation equation of T dash means that the relation between T and T dash. Now this relation is exactly same as we have suggested this one. So now what will be the transformation equation suggested by the Lagrange, that is real relativistic transformation equations. So for the time t, it will be as such what already we have written here, that T dash is equal to T minus Vx upon c square upon under root 1 minus V square upon c square. For x dash it is equal to x minus Vt upon under root 1 minus V square upon c square, and here since there is no motion along y axis as well as along z axis, that's why there will be no change along y axis as well as the z axis what already I have taken. So what important fact we have concluded under the Lagrange transformation equation in the limelight of postulates of a special theory of relativity. Now the linear relation between x dash and x is not exactly same, but it is modulated by a factor, that is under root 1 minus V square upon c square. And the most interesting part of this transformation equation is that if time remains no longer constant, time remains no longer invariant, means you will see that T dash is not equal to T. T dash is not equal to T, but it has additional factor here Vx upon c square and upon under root 1 minus V square upon c square. And at the same time you will see here that this T is related to the x also. It refers to that what Einstein was suggested in the start of very beginning, what I was discussing in the first lecture. Space and time are not totally independent, rather they are the two faces of the same thing, means that both are interlinked with each other and both can be expressed in terms of each other. So now let us see that what is the next step in the Lagrange transformation equation, and that we use to recall it as a inverse Lagrange transformation equation. If we will call the inverse Lagrange transformation equation, then two things we have to remember, and that those things are: number one, we have to change non-dash coordinate to the dash coordinate, number 1 point. And number 2 point, we have to replace V by minus V. Now the question is here, why we are doing this one? Why we are doing this one? So for that again we have to see these two frames of references. In these two frames of references, again we are assigning that it is S and it is S dash. It is O and O dash. Already I have told you people, the things which are written at the right hand side are known. Means that the things has been regarded which are lying at the right hand side. Since in the right hand side here we have the non-dash system or non-dash coordinate, that's why the observation has been taken in the static frame of reference. Observer, this O is observing this one, and with the help of the data recorded by this O, we have predicted that what will be the same data. Same data means that same type of coordinate, as we have taken x dash by being here, by x by being here, x dash we can predict it in the S dash frame of reference. Here the situation are different. Now the data has been recorded by being in this frame of reference. Means that the person who is here in this frame of reference feels that I am static and I am recording all the data for the particular event or particular thing here. And if the person is static here, then he or she will consider that it is moving in backward direction. That's why the V what we are considering here as a V, that we will consider as a minus V. That's why in the inverse Lorentz transformation equation, we will replace V by minus V, and since the system we are changing means that it has been clear from this equation that the information has been taken by being in the static frame of reference. If the information will be taken by being the moving frame of reference, then all the things at this side will be the dash coordinate system, and here it will be non-dash coordinate system. Hence, the inverse Lorentz transformation equation corresponding to the space and time for the Lorentz can be given as x is equal to x dash and then after plus v into t dash divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Since there is no motion along y and y dash, y direction as well as on z direction, that's why there will be no change along x-axis, along y-axis and z-axis. As far time coordinate is concerned, t will be equal to now here t dash and here plus vx dash upon c square. This will be divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square. So these are known as the inverse Lorentz transformation equation. What you will see here, x is equal to x dash plus vt dash upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square, y is equal to y dash, z is equal to z dash, t is equal to t dash plus bx dash as we have taken here upon c square upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. And what already I have suggested to people, in this transformation x dash is static and s is moving in backward direction. That's why we are taking v as a minus v. Thus the inverse Lorentz transformation can be obtained by changing non-dash coordinate to the dash coordinate and replacing v by minus v in the Lorentz transformation equation what we did here. Now let us come to the next point, that is the consequences of the Lorentz transformation equation. There are two important consequences which we will deal in this lecture. One is the length contraction and other is time dilation. So let us take one by one. For the length contraction, we will see this particular figure. It's very simple, that this is the static frame of reference and this is the moving frame of reference with the constant velocity with respect to s. That's why both are the inertial frame of reference. Now the rod has been placed in the moving frame of reference, then obviously the real and real information for this rod can be taken by the observer by being in the moving frame of reference. That's why L0 will be equal to the real length of the rod and actual length of the rod, and that will be equal to x2 dash minus x1 dash. And if we will try to transform this information for the observer in the static frame of reference, then the transformation equation we have to apply for this x2 dash and x1 dash. So here we will have L0 is equal to x2 dash. X2 dash means that x2 minus vt divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square, and here minus, here we will have x1 minus minus plus vt upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square, or simply you will see that these two will be cancelled out and we will have x2 minus x1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square, or this will be the length of the rod observed by the observer by being here. Means that the observer who is in the stationary frame of reference, here she will see that the length of a rod is not exactly L0. It is something else, and that we can calculate here. if this is equal to L, then this L will be equal to this L will be equal to this L will be equal to L0 up under root 1 minus V square upon C square in this way. So in this way we are seeing that the length has been contracted. This length has been contracted. That is L is equal to L0 under root 1 minus V square upon C square. This thing was suggested by the Lorentz Fitzgerald when he was trying to give the explanation of the negative result. But at that time, he was not having any experimental confirmation. As well as he was not able to support his statement by a particular theory that has been justified just after having the postulates of a special theory of relativity. Now let us have some animated thing here. You will see for example, a rod is there in the moving frame of reference. So the man who is in rocket, for example, this man is here in the rocket, then he will estimate that what is the length traversed in a particular time, then that will be equal to L is equal to V into T. If T is the time, in that time the length will be traversed by the V, that is the velocity of the rocket, multiplied by T. Now if the observer who is here in the static frame of reference observes the same situation, then the time will be different for him, and according to this observer, the time will be T dash is equal to T upon K, and hence the L dash will be equal to Vt dash. Vt dash means here this value of the T dash, and finally we will have Vt upon K, or this is equal to L upon K, and this is equal to L root 1 minus V square upon C square. It suggests that the length has been contracted. This is the example of length contraction. So many other examples you can see here. If any rod is moving in a particular direction, then obviously that will be reduced in that direction of motion. Just as we are taking this sphere here, and it is moving in the forward direction, then we are seeing that if V is equal to 0, then all around it have the same radius, but when it is moving with a particular velocity, then it has been contracted in this direction and it gets the shape of ellipse, and that ellipse has been intensified here. And similarly you will see that along the direction of motion the length will be contracted. According to that, at V is equal to C, we will have not this particular circle, instead we will have a straight line. Due to the phenomena of length contraction, a circle and I square in one frame of reference, that is stationary, appears to be the observer in the other frame of reference as ellipse or rectangle respectively, as shown in the following figure. You will see here. Just many times this question has been asked in the competitive examination as well as the semester examination also. If we have a square and this square is moving in this direction, then how it will appear? Then obviously that will appear in form of a rectangle, and in the direction of motion the length of this square will be contracted by the value under root 1 minus V square upon C square. Similarly, if we will have the circle, then it will appear just as an ellipse, and x dash will be given as x root 1 minus V square upon C square. Again, we may have the other example. Other example means that other consequences of Lorentz transformation equation, that is the time dilation. It is a very important phenomena which has been observed under the limelight of the Lorentz transformation equation, or as a consequence of the Lorentz transformation equation. Here, according to the time dilation, if a clock at rest in a frame S dash measures the time t1 dash and t2 dash of two events occurring at a fixed position x in this frame, then the time interval between these two events is known as the proper time and has been given as delta t dash. Delta t dash is equal to t2 dash minus t1 dash. It's very important. Here we may have this value, that this delta t dash is equal to t2 dash minus t1 dash. This is the proper time. Means that observer is in a moving frame of reference and there is a watch, and that watch is recording the occurrence of two events at the same place at a different time. Then one is occurring, just as we are saying that one ball has been dropped as 1 second, then after some time that ball has been dropped down, then what will be the difference in time between between the position of or the event corresponding to the ball? Then obviously that will be equal to delta t dash is equal to t2 dash minus t1 dash. If t1 and t2 are the times of the same event recorded by a clock at a rest in the frame S, then that will be equal to delta t is equal to t2 minus t1. Now one is in a static frame of reference. Just you can imagine that one is moving in a rocket and other is on the earth, static. Then here we have the difference, that is delta t dash is equal to t2 dash minus t1 dash, and here we have delta t is equal to t2 minus t1. Now the objective is here to find the relation between delta t dash and delta t. For that we will see that this delta t will be equal to, if we are writing here T2 means that inverse Lorentz transformation corresponding to this. Then we will write here T2 means T2 dash plus V x dash upon c square upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square, and at the same time we will have the transformation equation for the T1 dash also. So we will have T1 dash minus Vx dash upon c square divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square in this way. This is plus 2. Or with the negative sign here we have the negative and we will do. These two will cancel out. And we will have T2 dash minus T1 dash divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square, or this is equal to delta t dash divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Since the value of this particular quantity, that is always less than 1 minus v square upon c square, it means that the multiplier of this one will be greater than 1, and hence the relation between delta t and delta t dash will be in such a way that this is gamma times delta t dash, and this gamma times delta t means gamma will be always greater than 1. Here, in order to have the conceptual realization for the same thing, let us have a clock here, and this clock is in moving frame of reference. Then that clock is recording the time between two events starting from here to here, that is equal to 2 seconds. It is in moving frame of reference. Again the same we are recording here in the static frame of reference and moving frame of reference simultaneously. Then you will see that this will be 2 seconds only, and this will be equal to 2.31 seconds. Means the time has been dilated when it is observed by the observer by being in the static frame of reference. what it reveals that the clock which is here in this frame of reference appears to be slow, and the clock which is in this frame of reference appears to move fast. Move fast means that in what time it is moving in 2 seconds, it is moving 2.5 seconds. So obviously it has to move fast, otherwise it cannot travel this much, it cannot record this much time. That's why in the stationary frame of reference the watch will be fast and here it will be slow. And in other words, we can say that the person who is sitting here in this frame of reference will have liberty to enjoy much time. That's why it is said that the person who is doing the things fast, he or she will always have the abundant time. He or she can enjoy much time, because for them time is almost stopping. Stopping means that is moving with a slow speed. That's why we can say that the watch is slow in this frame of reference and watch become fast in this stationary frame of reference. This is the basic fundamental for the realization of the time dilation. As far as mathematical evidence is concerned, in the mathematical evidences many times we have seen that people used to say that the one day of Brahmaji is obviously have the value of years in, that is 4.32 billion year, because there is a chart for calculating the age of Brahmaji, the life of Brahmaji, then after we have the Kalp, then have Mantar, then we have Divyayug. According to that, when that has been calculated, finally it has been concluded that the Brahma had one day that is equal to 4.32 billion year for the human being which is staying at the earth. So it has from this particular time relation between the person who is on the earth as well as the Brahmaji shows that perhaps the Brahmaji is moving in such a frame of reference which is moving with the tremendous velocity, and due to that he has liberty to enjoy much time in comparison to the people who are at the earth. It had the experimental verification also. Experimentally, it has verified that the time dilation is a real effect. How? It can be justified by taking the example of the meson decay. Actually, at the surface of Earth at a 10 kilometer, due to the interaction of the cosmic rays, there is the production of meson particle, and they cannot be produced at the surface of Earth, but they are having their existence at the Earth, means that they are traversing the distance from the point of their birth to the surface of Earth, but their lifetime is very less. Usually if we will calculate that, then they will be die out in their path of journey when they have started from their birth point to the surface of Earth. But even then they are lying at the surface of Earth. The reason is that which can be explained on the basis of the time dilation, and you will see here this example that a meson, the mu meson is an elementary particle whose mean lifetime is 2.2 into 10 raised to power minus 6 seconds in the frame of reference in which it is at a rest. Such meson particles have their speed 2.994 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second, and these particles are created 8 to 10 kilometer above the surface of the Earth in the atmosphere by the first cosmic rays particles and its interaction. When we will calculate this, then when particle travel with the velocity this one, then in the time, that is the lifetime, in their lifetime how much distance they can travel, you will see that obviously this is the speed and this is the lifetime, then that is equal to 658 meter only. And using the concept of the time dilation, if we will calculate the lifetime of the meson particle, then that is equal to 34.8 into 10 raised to power minus 6 seconds. When this much time will be taken with its velocity, then finally we have 10.42 kilometer. It means that when the meson particle started its journey from their point of birth to the surface of Earth, then due to the time dilation they have liberty to enjoy much time because of their tremendous velocity. And finally, with that time dilation, we have this calculation by which we can conclude that they can travel even at a distance of more than 10 kilometers. That's why easily it is possible that the meson particle may lie at the surface of Earth. Some conceptual question is here. This is some sort of exercise. You people can do it. Only we are writing that x square plus y square plus z square minus c square t square is invariant under the Lorentz transformation. Or so the space-time interval between two events remains invariant under the Lorentz transformation. Here you will see that by putting first we are writing the transformation equation, and then after we are writing these transformation, using these transformation equation we are putting the value of x, y, z and t in this equation, and finally you will have x dash square plus y dash square plus z square minus z dash square minus c square t dash square, and it shows that the space time between two events remains invariant under the Lorentz transformation. One more question is here. If we are taking a circle that x square plus y square is equal to a square, then obviously it will appear as an ellipse when it is moving in a particular direction. So here we have this circle, and x will change at x root under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Y square remains as such, means that one axis remains as such, but it will be contracted, and hence the shape will appear just as an ellipse, and final equation of the ellipse will be in this way, and v will be equal to under root a square within bracket 1 minus v square upon c square. Some more question are there. Okay, if time dilation concept has been taken into account, then how we can justify the change in time by being in the different frame of reference. As far assignment of this lecture is concerned, if what we have learned by having this lecture, then we have to practice on this one, define the length of contraction and the time dilation, and then obtain the expression for the length contraction and time dilation with the suitable example, so that time dilation is the real effect. Just I have shown कि meson particles are generated at the 8 kilometer from the surface of Earth, even then they are lying at the surface of Earth. So that is possible only on the basis of the consideration of time dilation. Explain the time dilation using the example of the twin paradox. Twin paradox means if two kids are there, and at the time of birth one is staying at the surface of Earth and other is started its journey in a rocket, then the rocket person may have liberty to enjoy much time. That's why the time, or you can say the watch, will be slow in his frame of reference, and while it will move faster for the kid which is at the surface of Earth, maybe after 20 years when the kid which is in the moving frame of reference, that is in the rocket, he may return having its age hardly, that is the 10 year, and the kid which is at the surface of Earth may have his age at the 20 year. Similarly, we have other examples also. A clock keeps correct time with what speed it should move relative to the observer, so that it may appear to lose 4 minutes in 24 seconds. That numerical we can solve, and some more numerical problems for your practice which you can practice for further clarification and further clarity of the time dilation and the length contraction.